Okay, so, hi, hello, and welcome to my first ever official house build. I'm actually quite excited because I've always wanted to do this, but today is the day. There's no time like the present, and also I've been playing around with a couple of the packs that I've gotten, and I found a really cool lot in Windenburg called Mid Nowhere. I don't play with Windenburg often, so I didn't decide to use this lot until relatively recently. So, yeah, let's get into it. This build is going to be a cute little modern dig, if you would. One bedroom, one bathroom, sort of really an artist's pad, if you would. I actually got the inspiration for this house from a horror movie that I recently watched. Which it's not very new. It's Silent Hill and it's one of my favorite horror movies, but their house is just really interesting as far as the architecture goes. So I decided to try my hand at making a house that I thought would be real cool and real weird and real ooky spooky. So, or rather, just really more architecturally interesting. There's not really anything ooky or spooky about this house. Yeah. So, also, this is really just a chance for me to flex my muscles as far as, like, making houses that don't look like anything I've ever seen before. I'm really a huge fan of the half hipped roof. I think that's what this is. It's a half slant roof. Whatever the case may be, I'm super into it. I really like this style of roof. If you watch Sim Supply, James Turner, he often uses roofing like this, and I'm so into it because whenever I think of roofs on houses, I always think of like these really ugly sort of gabled roofs that you always see on like a McMansion, and I kind of hate them. So I just decided to do something really new or really different, if you would. So, yeah, I'm really excited about this house. Um, Also, I think I'm going to turn that around. Yeah, I'm definitely going to turn that around. Um, have like one side going one way and one side going on the other. I'm so poorly versed in the keyboard commands during build mode that building is like a slow going and long suffering process, which sucks because I really do like to build. It's just a wee bit annoying. And I'm hoping that, if I can remember correctly, I think, yeah, I just copied this one and made it fit to my needs because it becomes a process when you're trying to put roofs on. And I always struggle with roofing. It's one of the only things that I struggle with like real big time. But I think that this turned out actually pretty okay. But worry not, because you're gonna watch me struggle with deciding what freaking color this should be. Oh, first of all, love a glass roof. The best thing about the Seasons expansion is the stinking roof. Like, that glass roof gives me life. I love it. It just makes a room so much bigger. It makes a room so much prettier. I did not mean to do that. I always use the manage worlds button. I don't know why. I just always end up clicking on it, and it just, oh, it frustrates me. And it frustrates me even more so when my computer is just taking a million years to load. I would have sped up the footage, but this build is only 30 minutes, and the 30 minutes that I spend on this build are only dedicated to the outside details. So that's not even the decoration of the house, which is a video that'll be put up at a later date depending on how this one sort of goes. I plan to post them both, but if I get my feelings hurt, um it might not end up being posted. So, yep, let me just go back. This is a good opportunity for me to show you where it is, though, I guess. It's in Windenburg. It's on this weird little Pacific Northwest island type deal. And all of the houses that are put in this part of the world are pretty much that, like, rustic modern type vibe. It's not a vibe that I do very well, but I do know that there are some people who are just really good at decorating in that way. I'm not super great at decorating or building, but that could change. It could all be different because I'm really more into the gameplay aspect of The Sims. So I like to build my Sims really fancy, pretty houses that my millennial budget will never allow me to have, and let them live in these really beautiful places. So let's get back here. First of all, let's throw up some walls because kind of need to see what I'm doing. Okay, so yeah, we got our roofs squared away or triangled away, if you would, and oh, that was a terrible joke. I would apologize, but you don't want my apologies. You want me to be better, and I feel that. I think I was trying to delete the flooring from the roof adjacent in that little walkway, but I feel like that's not a super great idea. Because that space doesn't need to not have a roof. I really like the idea of doing like these big soaring grand entrances and lofts and things like that, but oftentimes I tend to be thwarted. Um, I really struggle with the placement of stairs in this house, which I always struggle with the placement of stairs. Like, it is just the fact of the matter is that I've never lived in a house that had a second floor. So when it comes to the placement of stairs and how they're going to look shortly thereafterwards, I am almost 100% clueless. And I've been in houses that have second stories clearly, but since I've never lived in one, I guess it just doesn't function in my brain. I don't think about it. This is me mapping out a bathroom poorly, because mapping out bathrooms is always also an issue for me. I really like to do these, and I quote, tiny houses, so these one bedroom type deals. I'm super into it, but it doesn't always work out in my favor. Mostly just because if I want this sim to start a family later, I end up having to move them, but I get really invested in the houses that I build, so I try to remodel them to make them work for a family, and it never works. It never stinking works. So, I guess this is the moment in which I give up on that idea completely, and I just kind of go with the flow. These doors, which are base pack doors, if I remember correctly, are kind of my favorite, mostly just because I love the color scheme and the shape. I also have the tendency to do like these high and tight sort of windows, and it always looks okay, but then I remember that you can't place more than one window on a wall, and that is always just a problem. Hey, EA, if you're listening out there, I would love to be able to put more than one window on a wall. I'd be soups into it if you guys could just provide me that small luxury. I would not be a pain to you at all. I would be a great and thankful simmer, and I would not cry all the time. Hello, yes, thank you. But seriously though, I really like these small windows. I don't ever design my houses to be functional with larger windows. So yeah, that tends to be an issue. I think I'm going to try out some counters and see if my window placement and my counter placement are agreeable, because I love the idea of having a row of windows just kind of out and about. So they fit sort of. I think I moved them up because I would like, yeah, I think that just looks better. I really like the idea of this row of windows. I often place tester furniture in the places that I'm unsure will be, like, suitable for the job. Also, auto counters, I don't know what it is. Maybe it's just a JC thing, but auto counters almost never work for me. Like, I have to work my actual factual butt off to get things to be in the right place. I don't know. I'm not sure. Maybe this is just a JC specific problem. If you also have this problem, let me know so that I feel a little less crazy. Because I feel absolutely bonkers every time I try to get the cabinets to match up or the countertops to match up. It never works. So I always end up using the oh, that's a bad idea. Put that wall back. There's no bathroom that's going to be large enough to accommodate the things that I want in that small of a space. Because I always like to have a tub just in case. Because I mean, if I bought a house, I would be livid if it didn't have a tub. Myself personally. Sorry. Anyway, so yeah, auto counters just never works for me. I have the tendency to put tester furniture down. It's not necessarily exactly what the furniture is going to be, which in this case, I'm pretty sure I kept the tub and the shower in the final design because I love a shower tub combo. Don't get me wrong, but there just has to be something so satisfying about seeing this gorgeous copper tub beside this like real sleek and modern sort of shower. Also, you can look out the window while you poop, so I guess that's real nice, you know. Maybe take a detox from your phone, sort of namaste on the toilet or whatever. Or whatever, they're Sims, like they don't use their phones on the toilet anyway. Actually, that's not the truth. I'm pretty sure I've seen that animation somewhere. So yeah, we'll have kitchen and bathroom on the first floor, which again, not super ideal, but they're Sims. I think they'll live. I always love the I think that's the Vintage Glamour pack, perhaps. It's not Vintage Party. I'm pretty sure it's Vintage Glamour. But that mirror gives me life. The sort of I guess clover shape. Is that a clover shape maybe? A club shape? Whatever. I love that mirror. That's not what I ended up putting in the bathroom after everything was said and done, but that's got some good stuff in that pack, guys. Great living room stuff, great bedding, and I really hesitate to buy more packs than I need, but oh goodness, don't I love a good design? I do. I quite enjoy a good design element. Now, see, this is the part that flustered me to no end, and it was getting a table that worked for the space. First of all, I understand the difficulty. Well, I don't understand it completely because I don't know how to do it. I understand the difficulty of making sure that a simulation as elaborate as The Sims 4 works. However, I would just like to let it be known that I would like to put stuff under the stairs and I would like for it to be functional. Because even if you use move objects on, it's not functional. I have less than no idea what I called myself doing to this room. Like, there's just a random bar in the middle. I think there becomes a karaoke machine at some point. Um, Lots of asymmetrical sort of design. Still shook, still absolutely flabbergasted by whatever I thought I was doing in this moment at this time. Because my intention for this room originally was to be sort of like a secondary living space, like perhaps the Sim has started a club and this is their official location, is like in the basement, not basement, of one of their club members' house. I always thought that that was a really interesting thing to play around with. But then I kind of got carried away in the aspect of designing this house to be for someone who is in the gardening profession, or for someone who has a green thumb, or someone who just really likes to garden and plant and grow their own food. So I kind of axed that, and in the next build, I think you'll watch me turn it into sort of like a flower arranging, sort of pseudo garage play area with couch with computer. Because what I recognize now is that I probably would have been better off putting this area to use as a 2-story greenhouse deal, but I'm unsure as to whether or not the functionality of a green room would still work if there were plants on the second floor, because I hadn't tested it before I started building. I just kind of started building, which is only on the lowest of keys my fault. So, yeah, throw a karaoke machine in there, sure. That makes total and complete sense. Um, I never put things like karaoke machines in the house just because singing is a skill that I forgot you could acquire. So, my Sims are pretty much always very one dimensional in a couple of ways. I'm trying to break out of that. So, if you have any suggestions for fun or wacky things to do with your Sims, like, a rags to riches type deal, a breed out the ugly type deal, I'm into it because these are things that I never do. I'm very bland, I guess you would say, in my sim playing. I always do the same thing. It's always beautiful family, 2.5 kids, maybe a pet. Parents are the artsy fartsy type, just doing the best that they can. And I think that's really telling of the way that I would like for my life to go. So since we're making this the walkway to the greenhouse, we're definitely gonna throw some big pretty windows, all over the place because you gotta love a big pretty window in a greenhouse. At first, when I started watching people build greenhouses with the seasons pack, I was always really flabbergasted because I was like, how are these people building these beautiful houses with these big pretty glass walls? I want glass walls, and I searched for hours looking for a solution to the glass wall problem until I realized that they were just windows. And boy, did I have egg on my face after that. I was very upset. I actually got to the point where I was talking to a friend of mine and I was like, "Did you know that there are no glass walls in The Sims?" And she said, "Well, yeah, obviously they're windows." And I was hoping that she would lament with me like, "Yeah, I can't find the windows either." No, she didn't care. She definitely gave me what was for. She gave me what for, I tell you what. I don't understand why I didn't use the eyedropper tool. Like, that just would have made my life so much easier than searching back through the... Just... Alright. Whatever the case may be. So, we've got this big, pretty greenhouse that's gonna house all of my plants that I don't need. I can't remember why I made it bigger, but I am glad that I did, because had I not made it bigger, the planter boxes would not have fit. And I prefer planter boxes than single, like what are they called? Flower pots. There we go. Jeez, that was a lot harder than it should have been. But, I prefer that to the, flower pot just because I like the idea of having like a gardening box. I think it's more aesthetically pleasing than a bunch of pots outside. Also, it's important to note that the Sim who's currently living on this lot was living in a recently finished house build that I had done, but when I went to go and record the voiceover and do the editing, I'll be darned if the entire thing wasn't corrupted. And I literally spent hours building this house. And when I say hours, you guys, I do quite literally mean hours of my time building this. And I was very sad. So I decided in my reckless sadness to bulldoze this lot. Along with all of the plants that she had in her inventory, and just kinda, go for it. That's just what I decided to do. I don't regret my decision now, but I definitely regretted it after I realized that you could not undo the action of bulldozing a house. So, remember kids, make sure you check what you can and cannot put up. So, I don't think I ever get around to decorating this part of the house. I think I just kind of map out some things that I would like to go here, and when I put up the video of me decorating the house, I would just like to give everyone fair warning that it looks literally nothing like any of the furniture that I put in the house initially. And also, I'm really just kind of shooting myself in the foot with this because I should put up my windows and things first before I get so excited about decor and things like that. I should definitely, well, you know, there was a time for everything, and that time is not today. Um, I also am really into the furniture of Seasons, which I wasn't expecting, but it's all craftsman mountain style. Like, I live in suburbia, but not really. I am a sucker for a craftsman style house. I love a craftsman style house. I love a wraparound porch. I love the pillars. I love the strong wood accent, but no wood paneling. I just, I love it. It's in my bones. However, comma, I would like to make it abundantly clear that I am not well versed in decor of this manner. So, if decor was your wish, yeah, it's not it. What am I doing? Why is this frozen like this? I can't imagine that I'm just not doing anything. Or at least I don't believe I'm not doing anything. What is going on? I think this was the moment in which I stepped away from my computer for a hot second, and my editing skills are lacking, and I don't know how to cut out this portion in which I'm just kind of sitting here doing nothing. Let's see. Okay. Ba ba ba. Are you gonna buff? Are you gonna do the thing in which you move? Ah, there we go. Woo, look at me go. Chose this really ugly bed. It really is so ugly. Like, it's a very ugly, ugly bed. But it's okay because, like I said, a lot of the stuff won't be staying the same when I do the decorating part of this house. I'm also trying to use some unconventional furniture, like furniture that I don't use all the time. Because I love a good unconventional furniture, some sort of granny type furniture. I'm gonna put a little baby tiny desk or chair. No, that. Oh, okay, I was gonna say, wait, that should fit. I remember putting it there because I know it fit. I need some windows up here though. It's real dark. And I'm literally the worst person about forgetting to put, like, actual overhead lights in a room. So the room will look fantastic until I, the room will look fantastic until nighttime. And then my Sims are like, it's dark and I hate it here. And when I go back to check and see what I did wrong, it's almost always that they have no light or no trash cans. Because for some strange and unrealistic reason, I am just the master of forgetting trash cans. I just don't know what it is. I think it's such an afterthought that I've never cared about a trash can a day in my time of playing The Sims. Move our little granny chair over. I think I want to make this a reading nook. Maybe. Possibly. I remember trying to chalk as many plants in this room as possible because plants are really, really good decor. And when you have like a big empty space, I can't believe that doesn't go on the door. When you have a big empty space, you can kind of play with as much clutter as possible, which I didn't recognize how important clutter was until I started designing houses and watching myself decorate them. And then I realized, yeah, the furniture looks great together, the color scheme is fantastic. However, there seems to be a general disconnect with this house looking lived in. All of the houses that I build always look super staged and not like actual Sims live there. So I'm gonna give it a try, trying to use more clutter to my advantage. Some of those nice pop-up windows, them tiny squares, which are all red because I believe the exterior of this house is definitely going to be a red type deal. Maybe some red, maybe some of those gray riverstone siding, which I love, but siding is also something I struggle with. I am unsure as to why it is so difficult for me to put siding on a house the way that it should look. But I tell you what, it is a difficult journey in and of itself. Let's stick a little bit of planter boxes in this bad boy. Again, I'm not in play mode, like I'm not in live mode. I don't have my sim here on the lot, so I can't test things, which is an oversight on my behalf, and I get it. That's not going to fit there. That is such a cramped space. So, put it back. Put it back. Wherever you put it, just don't put it there. Because I'm afraid that they won't have room to sit down. And also, it is only one sim who lives here. One sim and her cat. So, I mean, the cat doesn't need a chair. Yes, flower arranging table. We gotta make sure that, you've got your skill builders around. I didn't recognize the importance of having skills until, like, careers really demanded that you paid attention to the careers. And now I've just got hurt feelings, because nobody asked me if I'd like to consult on whether or not skills should be important. But again, it's okay. EA, you can make it up to me. I believe in you. I think you'll do just great. And then the dilemma of the door. So I really like for things to be centered, especially if I'm going to have a huge double door in the center and then like some other smaller doors elsewhere. I would really like for everything to be center. So I'm going to make this a little smaller, going to drop a couple windows, bloop bloop, just like that, because we want everything to look its very best. And that's kind of the hardest thing. Now, see, these wall plants sure do just burn my biscuits. Mostly just because they're so hard to put anywhere else, unless you're using move objects, which I tried not to use move objects because I feel like I rely on it a lot, but I just feel like perhaps there should be an easier way to get things to stay the places you want it to go. Also, EA, again, if anybody is listening, don't worry, you don't really have to. I'm just throwing that out there. If you could apply an architectural style to a house that you'd already built, like you want a classic Tudor style house and you need to apply that real ugly sort of latticed facade with brick, if you could just make that happen, I would be greatly appreciative. Like, I wouldn't be the best, but I would definitely be super happy about it. Ooh, I should probably fix this roof. Yeah, should definitely pull that out a little bit. And then pull it down a little bit, because it's far too tall as it stands. Or certainly too small. I feel like this is kind of a mishmash of windows. I hope I address that in the next install, because I definitely didn't make room for it in this one. So let's see, a little bit of clapboard going on. Clapboard is really just, clapboard is a stinking cabin font, is a cabin siding, and I don't care who you are or what you say, you can fight me about it because I'm right. Excuse me, roof, can I just, thank you. Alright, appreciate it. But I love the clapboard crush siding just because I think it looks more like that modern sleekness that I'm always into. A little bit of a stone facade around the door. Yes. Looking good. I'm not sure how I feel about the whole side being stone, but I'm gonna give it a try. I usually go through about 5 or 6 different paint jobs before I decide on one for myself. And the fact that walls get painted separately based on the rooms that they're in is absolutely infuriating to me. just because I feel like it should be maybe more or less intuitive. You do end up getting some really cool lines that way, but what else are you really getting for your time? I think this is the moment where I start to get wild and just start playing with some colors. Cabin in the Woods. I really, really like that brown. Um, I really should have just control shifted that whole thing and just painted it one color. Just would have made my life so much easier. Yep, and my stone is gone. Every stinking time. Yeah, good foresight, JC. Go back and change the things that you can actually fix now so that later you don't look like a nincompoop. A nincompoop, like a nin dog. A nincompoop, perhaps. Yeah, so do I use the stone for the whole top? I don't know. I can't remember. I think that I do because I really like the idea of like the stone facade versus the stone facade versus the wood. Very, very nature, very fashion. Get that eyedropper tool, grab some of that cabin in the woods. Doop doop, put it right there. This is where I make my bed and I lie in it because I hate the roofing situation. Like, I really dislike the idea of the roofing colors. I feel like there aren't enough of them to really do the things that I want to do. Like, there's no true black and there's no true brown or true blue. So, I do struggle with that just a smidge bit. Get this nice big thick trim going on each one of the roofing sort deals here. I really think that when you trim the roof of your house, it just looks more modern and more sleek. And maybe that's just my personal opinion. I'm not truly sure, but I do quite like it that way. I'm thinking I should change the color of these windows. Like, is there a no, I don't want to take it. I want to change the color. Is there a brown maybe? A black? Oh yeah, now we're getting somewhere, y'all. Change up those colors, make the house look a little bit more like, oh, I don't know, a cohesive structure instead of just a bunch of windows stacked on top of a fake hookah lounge type deal or whatever the heck is going on in the basement. Yeah. I think I'm doing okay thus far. We're in the home stretch of decorating this house, or at least we're in the home stretch of building the house. Decorating, well, that's a whole another story. So, here she is. This is what I'm assuming will be the final shot of this house, and I want you guys to all tune in next time so that I can kind of go through the motions of showing you what my design process looks like and what this house looks like once you put it together with a real cute bunch of plant life. So stay tuned.